everyone, good evening. Hello everyone, are you there? Analysis kiya, inference, moderate, okay, critical reasoning, okay. Hi guys, welcome to the session. Meeting after 2-3 days, I think. Saturday and Sunday there was a gap and we are meeting today, right? Hi, how have you all been? Don't mind my hoarse voice today. I know I'm sounding like a frog, but that's how my throat is. Hi Aditi, वो लिखती है आ गई. Shubhradeep, hi. Hi Bhavna. Mohit, hello. Hey Mrigank. How was the weekend, everybody? Hi Prabhat. Hi Sahil. Hey Keshu. सब ठीक ठाक आपके एंड पे? Hi Prabhat. Yes, I said hi to you. Hi Sneha. Mohit. Hey Manish. Wave to you too. गौरव 30-35 के बीच में आ रहे हैं अभी. वो बस होते हैं गौरव, उसमें 2 बस निकल जाएगी. निश्चल हाय. सेम इशू बोले तो विच इशू? 30-35 के बीच स्कोर, दैट्स प्रीटी गुड अभी के लिए. देन स्लोली टेक इट अप टू 40. हाय KMS. Oh, that's Maris, yes. Vedamitra, your weekend was hectic. Why? What did you do? घर की साफ सफाई मिल गई थी क्या आपको? 100 RC series this weekend. Okay, Shubhradeep, good. रिकवरी का कुछ नहीं केशु, ये कोल्ड है, साल में 1 या 2 बार आ ही जाता है, कितना भी अवॉइड कर लो. Yeah, I'll have lukewarm water. Thank you so much for the suggestion. वही ना चिराग, मैं और आप मिलकर के कट ऑफ निकाल ले 35 मार्क्स में तो. और ये देखो 30-35 में भी परेशान है. अच्छा, थ्रोट इशू निश्चल, सेम थिंग, सेम पिंच. Okay, Rishabh Gurjar says best teacher. अच्छा ऋषभ, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर काइंड वर्ड्स. सब आपकी श्रद्धा है, भावना है, वरना हम किसी लायक नहीं. चलो, अतिशय एंड मोहित एंड एवरीबडी स्टिल स्टक इन वोकैबुलरी. मोहित, जिंदगी निकल जाती है, इंसान वोकैब में स्टक फिर भी रह ही जाता है. आज भी अगर मैं शशि थरूर के सामने बैठ जाऊंगी तो डिस्पाइट माई ह्यूमंगस वोकैबुलरी I'll fall flat on my face. मुझे तो कुछ आएगा ही नहीं, है ना? So vocabulary is an ongoing process. You shouldn't target perfection कि कभी कि कोई दिन ऐसा आएगा जब आपको like हाँ 100% सारे words आते हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा. This year you'll think I know all the words. Next year 1,000 new words will be coined and put in the dictionary. So just target like a pretty decent level. Maris, VARC score is inconsistent. That's because probably you're not doing your daily reading. Hi Biswal, good evening. Alright guys, welcome to the session once again. We are going to roll now. So what are we doing today? We are taking up inferential questions. Okay. Inferential we have done earlier. Inferences. I'm going to give you some insights into this type of question. Okay. So without further ado, let's move. But before that, here's the quick announcement. I'm ABC Practice Batch. It has already started. You'll find the link below. So you can enroll for this batch, guys. What is the IM ABC Practice Batch? It's like, the 4-month extra push, extra boost given to your prep. Okay. What is its USP? Obviously mentor backed hai, just like the other batches, but this is done in 2 phases kind of. It has a phased approach. In what way? It targets on building the foundation, laying the firm foundation for the people who are joining now, and then It targets to take you to an advanced level. So ABC practice batch, ABC practice batch is not ABC आए बाएं चलें ऐसा types नहीं है. ABC you know very well. I am ABC, the oldest ones, right? Okay, and then it has got, it's like an extensive repository of questions. Okay, practice questions. So 250 exact CAT level RCs and LRDI sets and whatnot. You can see everything listed over here. All right. So go ahead, get enrolled for this if you are an aspirant for CAT 2025. I don't think you should miss this chance. Okay, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about inferences. I do teach inferences in my paid classes, and that is done in a super structured way. We start with short questions and then move on to moderate level and then difficult level questions. But here I'm going to give you some quick insight, like something in a very abridged form. So inferences are not one type of question, please. सबसे पहले तो ना दिमाग से ये निकाल दो. Do not think this way that last year in CAT there were only 2 inference questions in the first sitting. Okay? You cannot count the number that way of inference questions, because inferences are not a type, they are not a category. Inferences form the foundation, the base for solving questions. You get it? Inferences, if you ask me a simple word for inference, that is interpretation. Ask me another word for inference, I'll tell you this: rephrasing. Okay? Ask me another word for inference, I'll tell you it has to be true according to the passage. Okay? Number 1, number 2, number 3. Please pay attention, everybody, because this is going to be really insightful for your prep. You know, I keep saying about this, Nishchal and Maris, that when you are solving your questions, you should be able to identify the type of question. Maris opens his RC. There are 4 questions. He sees question number 1. He's stumped. He doesn't know what the question is asking him. That's not going to work out. Or he sees question number 2 and Maris says, oh, this is a true-false question. This is an agree-disagree question. Inference थोड़े है, मेरे से inference थोड़े पूछा है, why should I rephrase? Maris thinks that this way. On the other hand, Prashant Divakar knows what inferences is. So what Prashant does is, he opens his RC and he sees 4 questions and he sees, oh, all the 4 are kind of, they are connected with interpretation. What is being said in the passage has to be interpreted first. It has to be rephrased and then put as your option. Right? So inference may not be directly mentioned in the question. In the whole sitting, those 24 questions, you may find only 2 questions that have that word directly infer. Okay? But that doesn't mean the others are not inference based. So just like I say, POE, that's process of elimination, is a technique to help you make your life easy. Similarly, I say inferences is a foundation thing. This helps you see how to eliminate your options and understand and interpret and rephrase. Got it? Everybody, is it clear? So interpretation and rephrasing, and it has to be true according to the passage. Now, let me give you one clear point here. The passage can say infer directly. What can we infer, or what is the author trying to imply? So another word comes here, imply. Same thing. Okay? What is the author trying to conclude? Infer. Conclusion is a type of inference that is based on the overall point of the passage. If it simply says infer, That means it can be any one sentence taken from the passage and rephrased. You getting the difference between infer and conclude? They both are similar, they have to be true according to the passage. But infer can be any one sentence rephrased from the passage. Conclude has to be overall, like main idea taken into consideration. So conclusion cannot be narrow or broad. It has to be just the right size according to the main idea. I hope this is clear, right? Now when they ask you true false, very rarely does it happen that CAT will give you exact words copied from the passage, even in a true false question. It will rephrase it. Okay, this is again asking you for inference. You have to rephrase, you have to interpret what is given in the passage. Okay, let's say there is a question that says, why does the author mention Sneha in the second paragraph? Okay, why does the author mention? You have to go to the second paragraph, look up Sneha, and then read the surrounding portion, 2 lines up, 2 lines down, and then again you interpret. You come back and you rephrase that point. Direct words may CAT will never give you. Again, inference. Right? Now, there is another question, let's say, that says, when the author says so and so in this first passage, what can we understand from that? Okay, understand. Simple language mein, what can we infer from that? Because CAT won't give you word for word. Do you understand my point here? Sneha and Lakshmi and Ayushman and Chirag and everybody. So start looking at inference from a different angle. Look at it as if it's your your bricks that you're going to lay for your firm home. You get it? For stability, you need inferences. So it's not a type of question that I'm going to give you 10, 20, 30, 40 questions and practice done because this is one type of question. No. In every type of question, it will be there as the base. Done? Cool? Clear? Okay? So, isko thoda salam thoko inference ko and start improving your vocabulary so that you can understand how to rephrase and look for synonyms. Inference becomes very difficult if your vocabulary is weak. Because when I'm setting options as a question setter, I'm going to throw in some synonyms, some vocabulary. Passage mein he says, there is a lot of chaos on the road today because it has rained. Okay. Option mein I'll give you, there is brouhaha and people are running around like headless chickens because of the earlier bout of precipitation. वही बात है ना, भाई तू कहना क्या चाहता है, मुद्दा क्या है तुम्हारा? सिंपल, बारिश हुई है, सड़क पे भसड़ मची है, but then आप यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हो? People are running around like headless chickens, there is brouhaha everywhere because of the earlier bout of precipitation या कुछ ऐसा nonsense. Right? So vocabulary नहीं है, सारा inference बिगड़ेगा, धज्जियां उड़ जाएंगी आपकी. ठीक है, इसलिए अभी भी 4 महीने हैं. Take my advice, start working on your vocabulary and daily reading. Without daily reading, inference cannot be done. And people who are getting very happy about Shabana Ma'am's techniques and I'm able to apply elimination and work on it and I'm able to see the answer, okay, that is something you can be happy about. But then process of elimination or बाकी passages और इतनी practice के पीछे, if you ignore your daily reading, okay, even for a day now, it is going to have dire consequences. ये dire बोले तो general dire नहीं है, this is DIRE, okay, means खतरनाक implications होंगे इसके. So everybody is requested to spruce up his reading skills. Reading doesn't mean speed reading. That is all bullshit when people say you have to read very fast in RC. They don't mean fast means speed. When I say you have to read fast, the passage has to be done fast. That doesn't mean speed, it simply means you have to do smart reading, and that happens only when your familiarity is there. You give me any passage, I'll be able to skim, skip, scan very properly. Why? Because the topics seem a little familiar. Oh, this is about this. Acha, haan, there is this word that connects. Okay, so you can understand things very, very easily. This is what happens with reading. Got it? Chalo. Now, what are we going to do today? Simply put, there is a passage. This passage is on Great Migration. Okay, and the New World. I don't know how many of you have read about this. All right, the Great Migration happened long, long back. What was called the New World? The Americas. Okay, where did people migrate from? Europe, Middle East, Africa, some from Asia. People migrated to the New World. Why? Because of better employment opportunities, because of a better life, because of something, some more money, wealth, aisa. So the conditions back home were not good. So people decided to go across the pond, that is the Atlantic. You go across the Atlantic and you reach the Americas, and that was the New World. So when I read about migration, generally these days there is always a mention somewhere. Migration isn't anything new, it has always been there. Okay, Great Migration happened long ago, and like millions of people moved to the Americas. So same happens even today. So do not think that it is something new or it is like happening because of the wars or something. Or ye Great Migration jo hua tha, and other migration, whatever happened like here and there, they all happened for certain reasons. Employment, war, famine, drought, kuch bhi is tarah ka reason ho, calamities of any other sort, and people would migrate from one place to the other. Right? So we are going to do a passage on this. There are 4 questions. Okay, I have tried to give you like different types of questions, but all are based on the inferential technique. Okay, inferences. Chaliye, I'm taking you forward to this question. Everybody roll up your sleeves. Aryan, yes, Aman. I hope your pen and paper, everything is ready. Alright, so what does the passage look like? Sabse pehla assessment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Now that's typical cat. 5 to 6 paras. 600 words. 550 to 650 words. Okay. 550 to 650 words. 5 to 6 paragraphs. This is typical cat. Okay. Subradeep, I get your point, but it's not that difficult also. When you're left with the last 2 options, you're supposed to not do further elimination. You're supposed to take one from the 2, go back to that zone and prove it with the help of rephrasing. I'll repeat it, Shubhradeep, so that it gets etched in your mind. When you are left with the last 2 options, do not do further POE because that simply wastes time. Just take one of the 2, whichever looks good to you. Take that, go back to the passage, wherever it is connected, okay? And then just try to prove that option correct on the basis of inference. I mean, taking the help of interpretation and inference, rephrasing. Got it? More often than not, it works. Okay? Chalo. So, we are going to check this. ठीक है? Passage की reading कैसे होनी है? But before that, I always sneak peek. है ना? Questions कैसे हैं? Everybody ready? चलिए. You're going to have a lot of fun with these questions, I'm telling you. From the first para, it can be inferred that the European view of the New World was. This is para-specific, inference but para-specific. It's going to be a lot of fun. The emergence of hybrid legal systems in the colonies implies that. Imply means again inference, right? Emergence of this, the passage is not on hybrid legal systems. Hybrid is mixture. Legal systems, you understand. So the passage is not on this. The passage we saw is on the New World and migration. So hybrid legal systems is specific inference, right? The transformation of social hierarchies in colonial societies implies same thing, right? So transformation of colonial hierarchies, again specific, must be connected to some para. The discussion of African slaves in paragraphs 4 and 5. So nice, para specific, right? Let's say you have got this passage with you in the test. You don't need to understand each and every word given in the passage for this. Get the main idea. Check the flow, how all the paragraphs are connected. Go down to the last paragraph and straight move on to your questions, because then for every question you can take it and go to that specific zone and then read. क्योंकि पहले पढ़ लोगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? You're going to forget anyway by the time you reach the questions. You will read again, then you will go back, you will read again. 3 से 4 बार करते करते ट्रेन छूट जाएगी. Cool? Okay, let's see what the passage says. Come on. Scan the first para and try to skim this the way I have taught you. Yes, Noah Nebula, happy to see you there. After doing the first para, pause everyone if you're trying to learn the right way. If you want to do it your way, go ahead, zip across the second para, finish reading. But if you're trying to just understand what I'm teaching here, finish the first para, pause and try to sum it up. What has he said actually? He's talking about when Europeans began to settle the Americas in the late 15th and early 16th. कोई भी date को हुआ जाने दो. Migration was not merely the physical relocation. Not this. So what was it? It was an intricate process, complex process, transplantation of institutions, reconfiguration of identities, collision of disparate worldviews played transformative roles. The moment I see these commas, I understand I can get a true-false question from here. Note that down. Okay? This is how I read. I read actively, not passively, just for the sake of reading. I read the important zones, not everywhere. For the colonizers, okay, the new world was less a geographical discovery than a conceptual one. Not this, but that. Getting it? Right? An arena upon which ideas of property, sovereignty, civilization could be projected and tested. Let's say you did not understand this in the first round. Okay? No need to panic. Just relax. इसमें क्या कर सकते हो आप? You see not this but that. Just focus on the important zones and keep those zones in mind. You will come back when when you read the question. And then there is a tone change here. Nebula. The last line says, yet these ideas were often modified in unpredictable ways by the realities on the ground. So the tone here is slightly negative. It wasn't all a rosy picture. Okay, it wasn't as beautiful as what they had envisaged. No, it turned out to be, the reality turned out to be something different. This is what they are saying, right? So, pause here, wrap your head around the point, okay? And then think of this, okay, now the whole passage is going to be connected to this. Don't you think? He's going to discuss what the realities look like. Tell me this, guys. So the main idea is what? It should be somewhere here, na? The last 3 lines, Lakshmi. So the main idea is connected to migration, to the new world. It wasn't just physical relocation. It was conceptual and something he said, something that you did not understand, that's okay. Yet it was different from the reality. Modified in unpredictable ways. Yeah? And now he's going to explain the realities that were there. What exactly did the people face when they came to the new world? What were the realities? And he says here transplantation of institutions, reconfiguration of identities. He's going to explain all that. Now, second paragraph, please do not read every little word. Otherwise, you'll never learn. So, in practice, the transplantation of European institutions here into the Americas proved uneven. Finished. Why do I need to read now? They are talking about, in this para, they are talking about the institutions, how those European institutions were transplanted into the American soil. And it proved uneven. Some problems associated with that. देखो यहाँ, while legal frameworks, replicated application, now I'm doing vertical reading. Land tenure example, okay, communal, अच्छा, individual, but even as colonial, okay. Hybrid systems emerge, legal norms, अच्छा, okay, रहने दो. There is a question on hybrid systems, I'll come back. But here I understood in this para he's talking about the problems that these European institutions faced when they actually started launching themselves on this soil. Correct? आप पढ़ने लगोगे word for word बिस्वाल, you will kind of get lost. बहुत time लग जाएगा, right? Okay, next. Migration also redefined identities on both sides of the Atlantic. I redefined identities. There's another point here, right? Yeah. But it did not happen only in the only on the American side, on both sides of the Atlantic. For Europeans, how? Okay. For Americans, how? So this paragraph is talking about this. Identities. Now I do vertical reading. Act of settling across loosened. अच्छा उनके लिए कुछ ऐसा हुआ. Old world, capital O, capital W, देख लो, men, okay, Virginia, Mexico. Yet, social mobility, अच्छा, something, you know, disposition, exclusion, ये सब words आपको पता होने चाहिए. If you're a cat aspirant, जान लो आप ये. Indigenous, अगर जिसको नहीं पता अपने आप को गाल पे एक चपेड़ अभी दे दो मेरी तरफ से. Pushed, okay, margins, अच्छा, same वही रोना, marginalized communities को, you know, they were deprived of their rights and something. Got it? Exposure to new diseases, technologies, okay. उनकी भी पीड़ा अलग थी and redefining identities faced problems on both sides of the Atlantic. Okay. The flows of people were never unidirectional. Okay. Now, he's talking about the flow of people, not just one side. African slaves transported voluntarily to the Americas formed a third and indispensable component, their forced labor, okay, blah, cultural. Agricultural techniques, okay, blended into, fine. So how African slaves moved, this para is focusing on African slaves. Right? You don't need to get into all that. And the last para, I would definitely read it. Why? Because the author can sum everything up. आप इसको पढ़ो, then I'll show you the passage mapping, how all the paras are connected. Not this, but that. Was not the end point, but what? Clear? Everyone? Right? Go back now quickly and do this thing that I always say, what is where? Before I go to my questions, I need to understand the layout of the passage. What is where? So I'm going to take a thread and thread the paras together. Just see how. This was talking about migration, and it was not this but that, not this but that, not physical relocation but conceptual. And some realities kept getting modified. Then he talks about institutions, transplantation of institutions and the problems they faced, and hybrid systems and legal and something. In the next para, he talks about redefined identities. And then he talks about Virginia, Mexico, some examples, Europeans, indigenous people, okay, alliances, politically, diseases, etc. marginally marginalized communities getting pushed to the borders, ये सब. The next para talks about African slaves, right? The flow was never unidirectional. Then here we come to this. Over time, the last para says, okay, it became a mixing pot, a pressure pot. Crucible is not just a mixing pot. Mixing pot is cauldron, Cauldron. This is a crucible in which there is pressure. Migration, coercion, adaptation, resistance have interacted continuously. So people kept living in that pressure. The legacy of these not simple but a complex fusion. That's why he has called it a crucible. Connect, learn how to connect. Legal systems, etc. Ye sab. This fusion, and then he says, in that sense, it was not the end point. It was more fluid. It was more like, to see what would come next, how the society would change, how the society would evolve as a type, what society could be. So the flow is pretty neat, right? Easy to understand. But this passage will become extremely difficult for you if you do not know such basic words as migration, indispensable, crucible, indigenous, marginalized. मतलब ये नहीं होगा तो आपको ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा समझने में. ये अगर है आपके पास words, you will be able to understand everything in a jiffy. Cool? Yes, migration is not simple, it's complex. Yes, Gaurav, that is what he's saying. Correct. Chalo, now we need to go over to the first question. Roll up your sleeves. It's very nice inference wala questions ka set. You will enjoy these. First para, European view, New World was what? Take a look at the options. Maybe you can eliminate one or two. Go ahead. There is one option that gets eliminated at the outset. Which one is that? Yes, Aryan, very good. Hi, Aryan Rajdev, happy to see you there. Yes, Nebula, yes. I would eliminate C first, completely devoid of. भाई एक ना एक question, एक ना एक option तो ऐसा रहेगा. That's why we learn POE, because I have seen that pattern over the years, the way options are set. Okay? Alright, Maris and Nishchal and Ria and everybody. Chaliye. Primarily motivated by this. Now we'll go back to the para. Please do not depend too much on your computer wala dimag. Okay? European view of the new world. देखते हैं, चलिए. ठीक है? Options. My next elimination would be D. On close reading, I can see this. Aimed at replicating European governance structures, institutions. Okay? European governance structures without any expectation of adaptation. Did the Europeans think this way? European view of the new world, did they think this way? Were they expecting this to happen, that they would not adapt at all? This is also kind of extreme. Out. It's between A and B. You mark your own answer. I'm not going to disclose now. Once all the 4 questions are done, I'll show you the answers. Okay? यहाँ तक elimination हमने कर लिया साथ में. Now between A and B. ठीक है? You read the main idea in the first paragraph. You got the tone. So between A and B, I think you can come up with the answer if you have been practicing with me for some days. है ना? Done? चलिए. Then, question 2. Emergence of hybrid legal systems. Now, we know very well that this is in the second para. You realize this? It's easy for us now. है ना? Where to go? कैट में वैसे भी एक स्लाइड पे पूरा पैसेज होगा and the question on the side. You wouldn't need to kind of move back and forth. Right? So the emergence of hybrid legal systems in the colonies implies what? Hybrid. Hybrid का literal meaning आना चाहिए. और आज के ज़माने में अगर hybrid नहीं पता है with the kind of hybrid food we eat, hybrid chicken, hybrid mangoes, hybrid apples, तो फिर आप कहाँ रह रहे हो? है ना? Okay. Now check. Set your range. Read. But beautiful line. They came up with hybrid stuff. Why? चलिए. I will go with elimination. Yes. Give me the first elimination, please. Tell me. My first elimination is C. Indigenous legal customs, the local customs, were willingly adopted by European settlers. Then though there would be no problem. Where was the tussle then? Right? Minus C. Aryan. The paragraph talks about the problems. Proved uneven. Right? While legal frameworks were replicated in name. यूरोप में किसी के दुकान का नाम, मतलब लीगल को ही बोल रही हूं, दुकान का नाम था बनवारी लाल एंड सन्स. It was a legal practicing firm or something. ठीक है? Their application was altered by vast distances, environmental unfamiliarity. So maybe they brought the name here, but then they had to consider some other things when it came to application. And the persistent presence of indigenous polities, not politics, polities, rules the political scenario. Land tenure, for example, ignored the communal and seasonal patterns of this replacing, but then what happened? Even as this something, so you read that. Now if we go over to question 2, option C is the first elimination. They weren't willingly adopted. They tried to come to some middle ground. For that, hybrid was brought up. So this is out. What do we do with the others? Yes, Lakshmi, yes. One more elimination, please. I would eliminate A. Colonial authorities were incapable of enforcing any laws without indigenous cooperation. Extreme. This was opposite of what is said, right? We are left with B and D. You decide on your answer. I'll take you over to the next question. ठीक है? Done, Sneha. Next, save your answer for the end. The transformation of social hierarchies in colonial societies. You need to go back and look for social hierarchies and how they transformed. Go back. स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है ये, स्ट्रिक्चर है. And then they say yet. Done. This much of reading is good enough. Now we go over to the question and eliminate. Chaliye, Lasya. Again, elimination. Come on, dudes. Yes. I love C. Very good. Krishna, thank you so much. I'll take up your doubt in the end, Krishna. So, first elimination is C. Gained equal access. That is what the paragraph is saying. There were some indigenous communities that were marginalized. Correct? वो लिखती है Zohra, Saloni, C is out. Give me one more elimination and then we go back to the paragraph. Social hierarchies suggest what? बोलिए. Yes, next elimination is D. Social change in the New World occurred independently of European influence. Did it happen independently? Then why did they come up with hybrid and all? वो तो institutional structures से related था, but even in the societal thing, they are not saying it happened independently. Now I'll take you back to the para once again. Go on, read it again. Let's do it this way, Shubhrajit. If you are left with these two options, look for the difference, Shubhrajit. Which one seems a little balanced? Take that and prove it from the paragraph, Shubhrajit. Come on. Okay? Chaliye. Yet this social mobility was tightly bound to the exclusion and dispossession of others. How was that? Indigenous peoples were pushed to the margins both geographically and politically. Okay. So between A and B, save your answer. Nebula, Chirag, Aryan. Okay, Sneha. Last question. Chaliye. You know, there is a paragraph that talks about African slaves. Okay, we don't know the details, but now we can go and read. The discussion of African slaves in para 4 and 5, उसने वैसे भी बता दिया, supports which of the following inferences? You need to first go and check what it says. देख लो अब आप. We are reading this, है ना? Form the third and indispensable component. Okay, forced labor, वहां जाकर के indentured labor कहलाता था उस जमाने में. Underpinned the economic viability while their cultural and social contributions reshaped the colonies in subtler ways. Agricultural techniques to religious practices, पूरे range ये यहाँ से वहां तक. African influences blended into and sometimes resisted the European this. Done. The last para. It talks about pressure, crucible, complex fusion. ठीक है? We go over to the options. Now I'm giving you time. Go on. Eliminate wisely. Shubhrajit. My first elimination is C. Even you guys got it. Well done. Did not depend on coerced labor. वो तो बोला है, they blended. They formed an important part, right? Go on, give me one more elimination. I would eliminate A. Cultural contributions were largely erased. Has the para said that? Largely erased? No. So I'm left with B and D. Come on, Nebula and Gaurav and Sneha and Biswal. I'll take you back. Now Shubhrajit, again we are left with two options. Take one that looks good to you. Go back, prove it with the help of rephrasing. Yes. Done? शुभ्रजीत चलो आप डी को चेक कर लो शुभ्रजीत प्रूव कर लो ओके यस डन टेल मी योर आंसर्स Did you understand the process of elimination, guys? Did you understand how points were taken from there and rephrased? Okay. This wasn't a very difficult passage and a difficult set, but this was important to show you how inferences are there in every question. Almost every question. Okay. All right. Chaliye. Well done. Happy? Now, I've got a piece of advice for you guys. Since 4 months are left, start exposing yourself to different types of questions. Okay? For that, I'll give you a source where it's really going to be pretty helpful. What should you do? Just go to GMAT ka jo free repository hai na bhai. It's there, GMAT Club on Google. Go there and start solving 600 plus level because only 4 months are left. And 600 plus level may I have like taught thousands of passages from there. So I know that 600 plus level may there is a beautiful mix of questions, different types of questions that will force you to pause and think, kya keh raha hai? So now it's the time to flex your muscles and give yourself the right kind of exercise regarding questions. कैसे question? ऐसे question, लंबे question, छोटे question, मोटे question, टेढ़े question, गधे questions, अच्छे questions, हर type के questions. Got it, guys? ठीक है? चलिए, we are done with this. Ranit. Good, Nebula, good. I feel that is very important, as I said, for the exposure to a variety. And I know that those questions really help in CAT when it comes to POE and interpretation and the type of question and all. बहुत मजेदार होता है. Okay? Are we done? Can we call it a night? Yes, Nishchal. When you take your 3 passages, na Nishchal, on alternate days, sometimes take from there, sometimes from PYQs, sometimes from your dashboard, sometimes from like wherever you want. But just give yourself variety. Maris, you got 2 out of 4 correct, means you need to work. Yes, Shubhradeep. I had put in traps in like most of the options over here so that you guys could see how to eliminate. Okay, so this is clear. Interpretation has to be like, as I said, when you're left with the last 2 options, take one, go rephrase it, try to prove it, हो जाता है जनरली, पता है. At least in every passage 3 questions can be done very coolly if it is cat. Unfortunately I cannot say the same thing for ZAT. ये सब जो techniques and everything ना, they don't work for ZAT at all. I feel ZAT is pretty ambiguous when it comes to RC passages. The rest of the verbal paper is pretty good. The only practical thing about ZAT is the decision making section. But CAT is a very logic based test. It's all about time management and accuracy and interpretation and overall familiarity with your concepts and everything, because they give you such good level passages. So it's pretty good. Ha, Aryan. Keep doing it, Aryan. You know that I appear every night like a bhoot. 9:30 and ma'am appears. Dhrung. Shubhradeep, once CAT is over, then that 1 month will be completely focused on ZAT. Decision making का मेरा course आएगा और ZAT का verbal का course आएगा. Yes, Nebula, I know your level is already very neat. So please keep improving, Nebula. Okay? Alright guys, चलिए, in case you don't have any more queries or doubts or anything, let's wrap up. वोकैबुलरी के लिए आर्टिकल पढ़ूं या कुछ और भी? कुछ मत पढ़ो सलोनी, आर्टिकल 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 पढ़ते 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 ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड रीड. लाइक एक्टिव रीडिंग होनी चाहिए. स्लोली योर वोकैबुलरी विल इंप्रूव. वेदामित्रा, जीमैट इज कंप्लीटली फ्री. इट्स अ रिपोजिटरी ऑफ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस. सबको वहां से करना चाहिए. निश्चल, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर सेइंग दैट. यू गाइज ऑलवेज मेक माई डे. केशु, वोकैबुलरी के लिए एनीथिंग नहीं होता है. जब तक रीडिंग नहीं होगी, आप चैट जीपीटी से मीनिंग पूछ पूछ के नहीं समझोगे, एक्टिव रीडिंग नहीं होगी, नहीं होने वाला है. गुड नाइट नब्यूला, बाय बाय. सलोनी, बहुत कुछ डेवलप किया आपके साथ, थैंक्स फॉर द सपोर्ट. ओके, बट व्हाट इज योर डाउट कृष्णा? एनीथिंग एल्स दैट यू वांट फ्रॉम मी? आर्यन, तो इसी कैट के लिए एनहांस करो ना. एक्टिव रीडिंग एनहांस करनी बोली तो अब तक सो रहे थे तुम. कब से तो तुम मेरे साथ क्लासेस में हो. आर्यन, एक्चुअली आदत नहीं होती है ना पहले से वो एक्टिव रीडिंग की, सो इट काइंड ऑफ कम्स अक्रॉस एज अ हर्डल. बट थोड़ा सा अगर आप उसमें लग जाओ ना, तो आफ्टर लाइक 10 to 15 सेशंस ऑफ रीडिंग खुद आपको लगेगा हाँ यार अब तो मुझे समझ आता है, मैं पढ़ सकता हूं. ओके सलोनी सिंह, आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू सीइंग यू इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास एज वेल. राजू, गुड नाइट. वेदा मित्रा, हमेशा थोड़ी होगा कि सारे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हो जा रहे हैं. There will be bad questions, there will be good questions. That is what CAT tests, na, your ability to select the good questions. Good night, Nishchal. So, अगर वेदा मित्रा आप पैसेज ले रहे हो and you think I'm going to get 4/4 correct, you will be demotivated. मैं कभी नहीं सोचती हूँ 4/4 correct. I target 4 questions है भाई, 3 कर लो, 100% accuracy maintain करो. और आपके देखो, जज्बा देखो आपका. Bye bye Lakshmi, take care. Yes, Keshu. Not 100% confident that your answer is correct, Harshit. Then you need to sit with me in like classes. Yeah, YT sessions. Since you're not a subscriber, you can sit with me here. And once you attend like 15 to 20 classes with me, you will start gaining confidence. So Priyanshu, not understood तो कौन समझाएगा वो? कैट में जब पैसेज पढ़ोगे, then you'll realize, अच्छा, I have just read it. समझ में तो नहीं आया, तो कैट वालों को आप फोन करना इस बार, आई एम कोजी कोड को, है ना, राम जी को कॉल करना, भाई समझाओ मुझे. कृष्णा, स्लो रीडिंग इज ऑलवेज गुड. स्लो में स्पीड नहीं इंक्रीज करनी है. यू हैव टू इंप्रूव द वे यू रीड. ओके, द वे यू, अब देखो कृष्णा, आई विल गिव यू वन थिंग. घर में आपके यू एंटर, ओके कृष्णा, and then you see there are at least 30 things that you need to do in the house, in and around the house. The kitchen needs to be cleaned, the dishes need to be put away, okay, the dustbins have to be emptied, your bed has to be made, the dusting has to be done. There are 30-35 things. The thing is, you you think अच्छा मैं सारे कर लूंगा, you'll burn out. Instead, pick those that are more important. Okay, pick only the important ones that are like imperative. आज वो सब करना है. That is what we do when we read a passage. Instead of reading all the words, all the paragraphs and trying to read fast. Okay, focus on 3 to 4 points, 3 to 4 main things, and try to understand those things. That will help you in solving the questions. Thank you, Nabila, for saying that. Mock में marks आ रहे हैं, that's good to know. But then again, as I keep saying, stay grounded. Start getting exposed to different types of questions like variety. क्योंकि mocks वगैरह में थोड़ा सा पैटर्न टाइप का आ जाता है. क्वेश्चंस अच्छे हैं, सारे बहुत अच्छे क्वेश्चंस हैं, बट पैटर्न आ जाता है एंड देन वी गेट यूज्ड टू द सेम टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग है, सपोर्ट वीकेंड है, इन्फेरेंस है, ये वाला इससे कनेक्टेड है. That's why I keep saying, start doing from other sources as well. Okay, Vedamitra and everybody, Saloni, हाँ, Eon articles पूरा नहीं पढ़ पाती हूँ. Saloni, you have to just read for 30 minutes. And on the same channel, if you scroll, how to read Eon essays, you will find my short video in which I have kind of given you a walkthrough how to read Eon essays. Saloni, I think you should go and check that video. It will help you a lot. Sakshi Sharma, comprehending में weak हूँ. So you have to work on your vocabulary. Only then will you be able to understand the passage. हाँ, कल भी class होगी ना. Poor economics. Good book for RC and CAT. No, not at all. You can pick economics articles from like various sources. Read that. प्रियांशु, कोई वेबसाइट नहीं है जो आपको वोकैबुलरी देगी. अगर आप वोकैबुलरी वैसे पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, मुझे दिख रहा है आप क्या कर रहे हो यहाँ पे. आप सोच रहे हो मैं वोकैबुलरी कहीं से रटूंगा डेली एक सोर्स से और क्वेश्चंस तो वैसे कर ही लूंगा, इसके बलबूते पे मेरा VARC में स्कोर आ जाएगा 99 समथिंग. प्रियांशु, लिख के दे देती हूँ, पेपर पे नहीं आएगा. जब तक आपके ब्रेन को एक्सरसाइज नहीं मिलेगा ना, डेली द रीडिंग एक्सरसाइज, you can forget your dreams of cracking VARC in CAT. Okay, ठीक है. चलिए guys. All right. GMAT club. Yeah. Take passages from there. 600 plus wala level Sneha. Okay guys. Take care dudes. Have fun. Bye bye. Good night sweethearts.